Right. So, in the studio with me is Dr. Onsi Nathan Nkrumah. He's one of the children of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and we'll talk about him, his father, and what he does now over the next few minutes. You don't want to miss that conversation. You're welcome to the studios here.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Well, you, like your father, is also into promoting African unity. How different is that in modern day Ghana from what your father did?
It's just as irrelevant today as it was then. We're just a little bit closer to achieving it than, say, 50 or 60 years ago. However, we are not there yet. I was invited recently to the U.S. African Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C., and I was just very amazed and touched by so many African American cab drivers taking us to the convention center and so on, between the hotel and so on. And they look at my face and they ask me if I was the son of Kwame Nkrumah, and I said yes. And they would ask me to step outside, take pictures, and tell me how touched their life was by him and how changed. Some of them come from different parts of Africa, needless to say. And that happened not once or twice, but at least 6 or 7 times, and they refused to charge me even for the cab ride. So they told me it's just so relevant today to their lives and how they feel and how they aspire to do better for themselves, how to be self-sufficient. All these values are so relevant today as they were all those years ago. 1 or 2 of them told me even about the unity of Africa. If we can achieve united Africa, it will be a wonderful thing. I told them the dream's still alive. So long we're alive, we still dream of united Africa.
If you look at the current state of the African continent, including the economic challenges, the security challenges we are faced by, is it now more a possibility than it was during Kwame Nkrumah's time?
It is possible. It is inexcusable, really, that we didn't get there. But you need somebody with that level of drive and that level of vision and that level of selfless kind of attitude to all of Africans, not just for the Ghanaians, but he can see the whole picture. We need something of that nature. That type of leadership will see us through. But it is very relevant. It's very possible.
But is it going to be easy?
Nothing in life worthwhile is easy. If it's easy, then it's not worthwhile. If it is worthwhile, it's worth, you know, struggling for and aiming for and getting there. It is possible. I believe it's very possible.
What would Africa need now to make that possible?
To believe in ourselves, to believe we can achieve it. It's possible. We just need to believe in ourselves, and we need to get there. But we need to see the vision and the dream in its entirety. When Africa is together, it's powerful. If it is disjointed like anybody, if you cut me in pieces, I cannot stand here. But if I'm together as one whole strong unit, I can do things. You know, I can, apart from breathing and eating and surviving, which we're doing in Africa, but we need to do an awful lot more.
Isn't that the message that has been preached since time immemorial about how Africa could achieve it, and yet we haven't seen anything yet?
Good.
Perhaps the message should be tweaked or changed.
Well, the lip service is good. People like to hear it. But we need to have more will. We need to have more drive. We need to believe in what we say, not just to preach it and say it because it sounds good, but we really need to believe into it. If we're convicted, there's nothing can stop us. We just need to believe in it, be convicted, and actually work with diligence and with good conscience, not for self-interest, not to be self-promoting, but actually follow the same example of being completely unselfish, couldn't care less about his own personal thing. I mean, he didn't really do it for prestige or for recognition, although with time he got some, obviously, but perhaps much more after he's gone. People recognized, well, we missed this message when it was around, but you know, it is certainly my dream, and I pray it will happen before I'm gone. I pray it will happen within this generation.
So tell me, what's the feeling when your father gets all these posthumous awards and celebrations? What's it like for you? How do you relate to that?
Posthumous recognition is all very well, but if you really want to recognize the man, recognize his dream, live up to his dream, live up to his ideals, live up to his standards, all this, pieces of paper and filling space acres of newspapers, it doesn't really do anything. We just need to be more sincere and live up to the standards and do our best. That is the dream fulfilled then. It will be done. But I believe it's a matter of time.
How do you identify with it as a son of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah?
I just found it running in my veins. I didn't need to go and look and study it. I just discovered, and in '81, that's why I started this United African Organization. I believe so passionately about this, and I mentioned to one of your colleagues when I wanted to write a book, The Importance of Uniting Africa, I was told somebody wrote this book, and guess who the writer was? So that was very interesting.
I see. So what's the relationship between yourself and the rest of your siblings?
What is the
relationship?
The relationship. Well, first of all, we only have 2-3 minutes together, so I would plead if we can just leave the personal and family issues.
That's very fine. Let's talk about your organization, the United Africa Organization.
Right.
What has it achieved so far?
Okay. Well, we haven't obviously achieved United Africa, but that's what we're actually preaching. But towards there, we believe that we have to get every part of Africa liberated. So, in fact, all those years we were helping Namibia, South Africa to fight against apartheid in every diplomatic and civil society kind of way, in every peaceful way, in other words. And all of Africa, minus Western Sahara, can claim that they are self-determined. So we are pretty much there on that level, meaning the physical body of Africa to be free. But I don't believe that we should be free of colonial power and then we give our freedom away to financial masters, for example. That is another shackle. If we are shackled to colonial power, what difference does it make if you are shackled to him or to them as a lender? You have to,
But is it possible for Africa to do without that financial shackle? How you put it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think we need to remove every shackle. I mean, it doesn't matter if the shackle owner or the provider of the shackle was British or Chinese or whatever background. It is the shackles we hate. Not the Chinese, not the British, not whoever, not the French, or whoever in Africa, Portuguese, we had Portuguese before, we had Belgian before. So it's not, we don't hate the Belgians or the Portuguese, we love them all, but we don't want them as our masters.
But perhaps I should find out what you call a financial shackle.
Okay.
What will fall under that?
Well, the lender puts himself as your master, meaning he dictates terms. And if you have, let's say we have 3 billion loan with the Chinese, somebody has to pay that. Is that going to be our children or our grandchildren? So we're leaving them with shackles. Now they're not free to move freely, so we need to be forward going, we need to be running forward, we need to progress, whether we have shackles with the IMF, whether we have shackles with the Chinese, with the Brits, with anybody. That is, we are against the shackles. We need to be in a free movement so we can run, we can gallop, we can go forward. That's the whole idea, to be free, to go forward. Forward ever, that means we need just to be free to run forward, to progress. But, if we look back to our bondage, to our shackles, to our problem, our conditions, we need to repay this, we need to sort this thing out. That's a problem. That doesn't allow us to be free. And the next generation will have to pay this. So we need to remove that. And that's achievable, very achievable.
How does Africa do that without trying to operate as an island out of the global world?
Right. Just manage our resources well. We can be self-sufficient. We can work together as one body. We can love each other more. we can unite more, we can be like one entity, we'll be so powerful.
It's going to take forever. Look
No,
at the
no.
security challenges we have on the continent.
Right.
Talk less of those who are always, some countries are always complaining of not having enough to feed themselves, let alone contribute towards that one Africa that can indeed free itself from the financial shackles, like you say.
Yeah.
Won't it take forever?
It wouldn't take forever. It wouldn't take 10 years, according to me, if I am in the right positions, or if I can inspire enough people who are in the right positions, because there are a few people who have enough wealth that can help others to create wealth and create jobs and manage their lot much better if we have that kind of arrangement, not by force. We don't want to impose, working together. We appeal to them to work together. And you can only appeal to them if they love one another. So that is my message, to love each other and to work together. It's possible.
What would be the right position for you?
In what?
The position where you can inspire the haves to help out the have-nots.
Well, I have been talking to few rich people, and they keep saying, well, if we get the right circumstances, we don't mind. Where, just capital is always afraid, the usual kind of cliches, so if I can just get 5, or if I'm ambitious to wish to have 10 successful business people in Africa, I don't mean just Ghana, and everybody can inspire his part of Africa, west, east, north, south, then I think within 10 years you'll see a different Africa.
What are we going to do with the borders? The borders we have?
The borders are all fictitious, but again, it's a question of love. If you love your neighbor, if you love your brother, you wouldn't say, oh, this is my wall, don't pass my wall. It's just a question of loving your neighbor, loving your brother, and believing that we are our brother's keepers. We're not our competitor. We shouldn't be a rival. We should, of course, aspire to do better than anybody else. It's just a natural human quality. But if I believe when you do better, I am better off, and if you believe if I'm better off, you're better off, then we'll have this joint, publicly spirited kind of drive to achieve much better things. And we can do it. This is within our grasp. We just need to believe in ourselves, love one another, work together. It's simple.
So tell me something. Will that position where you can inspire the haves to help out the have-nots, to reach out to the have-nots, so we can have a level growing Africa, will that position be perhaps in government?
Well, I never rule anything out. Initially in my life, I just wanted to be inspiring people in different countries throughout Africa. But during the course of the last 30-something years, I was asked if I would help certain governments, to be part of. And I always refused, because I thought the bigger picture is more important, and I didn't think of myself to self-promote. So, however, if it has to be done, if I could not find people to inspire, I will just probably have to come to the fore myself. But I would have done so reluctantly. But you can never say never. So I don't know. I cannot.
Are we looking at being president in future?
Well, if I feel that I have to do it, it's a possibility. But I really have to be very convicted.
So has any political party caught your eye yet?
I'm a member of CPP. I'm an old member of CPP, and so I don't need to look for another party. I just wish our party gets its act together. We need to recover all these splinters, as if we don't have enough. Now we have PPP. I wish Dr. Indom comes back. I wish NDC comes back. I wish everybody comes back, and then you have CPP. We'll still have multi-party system, because I don't think we're bringing MPP.
Your party's got a lot of work to do, because as it stands now, it's not got the clout to...
Again, why? Because we are not sufficiently united. You see, if you have any division, you're weaker. But if we have enough love to embrace everybody, then people like Indom probably would come back. I don't know. If you can hear me, please come back, Dr. Indom. Bring all these stray people with you and bring them home. The same with NDC. So many people went astray because they lost sort of view of the value of the CPP party. They lost the vision, or they felt they don't have sufficient leadership to be, glued into one entity. So that is my diagnosis. If we love one another, we can attract each other back, and we can be a formidable force, and that's what I'm hoping for.
We'll leave it here. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Dr. Onsi Nathan Nkrumah is the son of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.